Hi, YouTube. How are you doing? I hope you're well. I hope you're staying warm wherever you are. Not too warm if you're in Australia or somewhere horrid like that right now. Whoa. Yeah, you can put layers on for the cold, but yeah, sometimes heat's pretty bad. Can be. So, yeah, you can't always take off enough clothes when it's hot. In fact, you're better off wearing some, you know. So, yeah, to keep your body insulated with the sweat if you sweat a lot or whatever. It's you see these guys with no shirts and it's like, out doing construction and actually they're doing their body a disservice. They'd be better off with their clothes wet. That's our defense mechanisms. So, yeah. But anyway, got a big bale of hay out in my horse's ring for her today and went to feed her tonight, her and the chicken. Well, that bunny was right by the barn and I started talking to it yesterday. I was telling it not to be afraid, and today I told it, I said, "You don't have to run, don't run." And I go, "Honey bunny," and it just kind of sat there and um, kind of just went around the corner just a little bit. So I have a rubber mat. I put some food. Dusty's got a dish too, but Chicky and her eat on this mat together. And so I put their food down and they're eating. And I kind of went away a little bit to go cut the strings off this big bale of mine and looked over there. There was that bunny right underneath my horse's hoofs, eating off that mat with them, in about a not even a 3 foot area with the horse's head, the chicken, and a wild bunny. No, that was something to behold. Let me tell you, that was beautiful. you know. And also there was a blackbird in their barn today, just sitting in the straw. And so, yeah, critters. So, yeah, this morning was really good because uh, my fears were for other people were alleviated. So, history will not be repeating itself. Thank you, God. Christ. Thank you. Um, yeah, so this morning I was like, well, I gave Robin your message to Doug, I told him, because I didn't tell him right away. I just wanted to see if he was going to ask whether I did or not. And I'm pretty sure what the message was a staff, not a spear. So, or maybe a combination thereof, from ancient times type of walking stick type of thing or something. Well, anyway, so I was telling him how Robin was examining all the calendars, Harold Camping's, the Jewish Hebrew, the uh, oh, Enoch's calendar, and then I told him that he realized which birthday Enoch's birthday would be coming up, and he just got happier than hell. He almost said, "I love him." He goes, how do you put that? He said, "Oh, he goes, he's been working really hard." I said, "Yeah, he has." And he goes, yeah, that's pretty neat," or something like that, like to, yeah, he almost said it. You're right, Robin. You grew on him like a fungus. So, yeah, that made my day very happy. You know, you can't have enough friends in the world, right? So, yeah. So, yeah, and then I told Doug about some weirdo saying that about my place here, that I own nothing. You own nothing, Barb. Remember that. Doug owns everything, or Doug owns that you own nothing, is what he said to me. Remember that. And I sat for a second. I thought, okay, God, how do I ignore this? Erase it? What do I do? And he said, you write back, you own nothing. God said, you own nothing. Remember that. And so when I told Doug this morning, he says, that dumb son of a bitch, he said, tell him that he doesn't own anything. God owns it all. And I'm like, that's basically what I told him, you know. So I told him of years that I had just worked to pay everything, and Doug was paying child support. So, yeah. And I planted thousands of dollars worth of plants and stuff around here um, that can be used in all kinds of ways. Um, some of them didn't take, and I had to find different places in the yard for each plant that would grow. And so, different ones, I had to start all over again many times. So, with a lot of things that I wanted, you know, to get it to take, because this oh, we put in loads and loads from my friends. We started out with cow manure around to refurbish the land around here, and wood chips and all kinds of um topsoils. We literally bought topsoil. But then when I got my horse, none of that was necessary anymore, and things started really flourishing. So, yeah. But yeah, we worked our butts off making this place, and oh, and even me building on structures and stuff. So this little twerp, whatever it was, doesn't know anything. So Doug would have died without me, literally several times. His heart was so bad too. When I was doing all the running, now he's doing it because that's what I did for a long time. Then he broke his foot and absolutely could not drive, So his ankle, he tripped on a hose in his shop, and his whole foot went up underneath, I think like his welder or something like that, and just snapped it at the ankle. So, yeah. So, but yeah, so that was nice to know that. Oh, well, here's a note on kind of on the same subject. If I ever bring up like uh, SJD's name or something, Doug goes flipping ballistic. He doesn't do that with Robin. So, yes, not a spear this time, but a staff from Walking with God. That's great. Of course, I had seen great improvements, but it could have all been a trick. You know what I mean. You know what I mean, Jelly Bean? So, yeah. So that did make my day to know that through eons, Satan had become human, which he never wanted to be. That's how he fell from grace. Um, but literally learned how to be human. And that was God's lesson for him. You want to know it all, Mr. Know It All? Start from scratch. That's what that's all about. Now, his little babies. Oh my God. They all want to be queen. Even the guys. With your gematria and my numbers. That's so funny. Hilarious. Who would want to be king or queen? You'd have to be out of your mind. You know why? Because everybody hates you. You Just saying, Steve. Even your father. No? Want to make a bet? Oh, yeah. He's disgusted. So, anyway, just more than an opinion. So, yeah, that was happy news. Now I understand what it means when Satan's going to be loose for a little season. It's nothing to hurt any of God's children at all. Only the ones of His that don't want to straighten up. Because anything He feels or thinks, they feel or think just like us with God. So, um, being that He's straightened up, they don't like that. They got to be going crazy. I bet they're really animalistic right now. Must feel like running. Like I told you before, run, 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 run. Hurry up, quick. Because you can't outrun God. That's what Satan found out. With all the tricks of time and all the messing around with all the calendars and all your little agendas, and doesn't matter. God's way ahead of that. Take God's original material and then put bad blood in there and lack of scientific knowledge, and God knew you're going to do that anyway, and put like a fail safe in us. So a fail safe is when the first safe fails, there's another layer and another layer. Well, many fail safes, multiples, way ahead of that. Of course, he's going to get his way. That's what this is all about. Making sure people understand you don't bite the hand that feeds you. It's as simple as that. Really, if you have no respect for other human beings, at least have respect for God. That would be a start. Or even pick one human being and thoroughly respect them for their statue of truth and morality and those type of things that we're expected to be. Oh, yeah, now California wants to teach their children that there's 15 different types of genders. Huh. I wonder if my parents thought of that when they were making me. And my mom was raped by a married man when she was 16. Yeah. But, yeah, and he was Illuminati. So they both were very Satanistic. Whether my sorry sissy, I know you watch me, but I'm just telling you, the darker side of that laughter isn't funny to me. Okay? I know I look the most like our mom. Sorry to tell you that she's going to be okay someday. So don't worry about it. Don't you worry about a thing. Yeah. And my other sisters, if you pop in, which I have a feeling you might one of these days, like just use your real name and say hi. That'd be cool. You know. I'll wait. I'm patient. I got a little brother too, but he doesn't go online much. He's not really into the internet thing. He got a couple sons he's raising. Well, they're getting older now, but goes to the gym, works out, boxing. And, He's pretty neat. All my siblings are, actually. But, oh, yeah. It was very cold today. Not as cold as it could have been, though. And when they say that this is not unnatural. This is not unnatural. We've had a very warm winter, and other people have said too, like we're used to this. You know, this what we call they call polar vortex. We've called Canadian clippers from as long as I can remember. Seriously, so you know, like a week of this stuff. So tomorrow it's going to be like 17 degrees, and tonight it's only going to be like about 10 below. Um, and then it's going to warm up to like about 40 and 50, and so which is unheard of. These 40 degrees in the middle of winter like we've had. Um, this cold air that came down is absolutely normal. I'm telling you. That's a fact. Might be pushed a little more further east or a little more further south. That's what I'm assuming. Um, Usually we sort of ease into the cold and ease out of it, or it'll stay kind of cold for a week or two. But we just got blasted for a few days and now it's going to warm up, and that does not happen. Usually we get blasted, and if it gets a little warm, like even 20 above, about this time of year is normal. So tomorrow will be normal, and then everything after, and then it would like maybe snow, but no, it. We might get a little rain. So, yeah, the weather is goofy, but like I've been screaming, this is an El Nino year, meaning that most of our weather comes off the west coast, pushed down with a little bit of the Canadian jet stream. It loops down through Minnesota and then over, and then there's another one that runs across the middle of the United States, and another one that's more kind of southern, or that swoops kind of southern. Um, so yeah. Anyway, uh, this is normal. If anything is abnormal, I mean, yeah, it was a little cold, but we didn't set any records, and if they say we did, they're flipping lying. I'll let you know about that. I remember 60 below, and it was 60 below. That wasn't the wind chill. It was probably maybe, I'm guessing 30 below last night, maybe 35 below. And with the wind chill, it could have been close to 50. But they're saying, oh, like 70 below. And then other people were saying that, and it's going to get even colder tonight. No, it's not, you know. So that's disinformation right there. And I get my weather right outside my door and also from our airport in town. So, yeah, we got a little Pine City Airport that is part of the National Weather Service, so it's hooked up to that. But I can correlate that with my thermometer out on my house. So, yeah. So all in all, it was a pretty good day, not too bad. And like I say, nothing really out of the ordinary at all. So they're just, God, they're fear porning and snowing people right and left with anything they can try to throw at you. It's like unbelievable. Oh, I predict it's going to be a very warm and dry summer. You know why? Because it's still an El Nino year, which means our weather, which always comes from the West Coast and Southern in the summer, will be coming from further south because that's what El Nino means. La Nino means cold, which would be coming more from the north, which next year will be a La Nino year. So they go in 8 and 12. The El Ninos are every 8 years, and the La Ninos ease into the El Ninos 2 different times in and out of it, if you see what I mean. So, um, yeah, I could draw you a chart, but I hope you caught a little of that. But anyway, so yeah, every 8 years we have warmer winters than we normally would have. And this is one of them. So they're so full of shit. Seriously. I'm right here. I know. They're saying, oh, um, Chicago and Minnesota. No, 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 no. We're used to this. And so is Chicago. It gets so flipping cold there. And with that wind off that lake, oh, brr. I don't like Chicago personally. But anyway, Illinois in particular isn't one of my favorite states. So, just saying. It's really industrialized. It has a lot of factories, a lot of big companies making stuff, and Wisconsin's quite a bit like that. We are too, but not as bad as that. But then that brings thoughts to mind about them wanting to open up. We have silver mines up above the Mississippi River in a place called Hibbing in northern Minnesota, which is considered like part of the Boundary Waters canoe area. So this is water that comes through our state and underground like oceans and stuff, but literally these springs, the spring that starts the Mississippi River in Itasca and flows all the way to the Gulf of Mexico from up in there. Okay, well, the point is just northeast of that, they want to start opening up the silver mines again and doing fracking for nickel, or silver and nickel. And I am thoroughly against it, but they're doing it anyway, so and yes, it will mess with the water tables. It always does. You should see the massive holes they've dug up there. It blew my mind. Uh, excuse me. Sorry about that. I hope it's not too loud. I got it turned way down. Just charging it. But yeah, it's a concern of mine. It should actually be a concern of everybody, but they're just, oh, yeah, I was going to say about the big machinery, like, you know, the holes are so deep when you get them big dump trucks and them big earth moving machines and stuff that are bigger than houses. The wheels are like 14 feet high, and you see them down in them mining pits. They look little down there. That's how deep those things are. And then they fill up with water and they have natural lakes, or they're not natural, man made lakes, which are kind of gross to me. Like weird reservoirs and different things that I've seen that weren't supposed to be, and collect water in one area and restrict it to another, and these types of things they do to our planet. Just like there's silver mining out in Wyoming as we speak too. And they don't really talk about that much. They're just digging the crap out of the earth, and, who's getting it all and why, you know, but they don't speak about it. You don't hear that. You don't hear when they're taking all the silver and gold. They just say, here, take your money, your cash, and buy this silver and gold. And what good is that going to do? It's a chunk of rock, you know? Sure, it's shiny. So what? You know? Yeah, I know electronics are made and all these different types of things, but we would forfeit our water on this planet for something shiny, you know, or for a new gadget, basically, is the trade off. Life of mankind versus technology or something shiny, bling, you know. It's pretty disgusting if you think about it, to me. Hopefully it is to you too, you know. And nobody talks about Fukushima at all. Japan, I think it's been 6 years, maybe longer now. Those nuclear plants have been leaking into the ocean ever since then, and they still are. That's the only way they can cool them reactors. And that stuff is poisonous to our planet for, would they say, like 2,000 years or more? Might be more than that, maybe 20,000 years. Seems to me if everything dies because of it, that's an awful long time to wait to refurbish the earth when everybody will be gone. But slowly it leaks. Just like Chernobyl over there when that reactor melted down and killed everything around it. You know, you never hear about these things, and there's nuclear plants all up and down the United States that they use for to convert it into electricity. There's several of them in Antarctica that went nuclear, like 12 of them back in the 70s. You don't even hear, nobody talks about all these reactors that are leaking nuclear waste into our planet and killing it. Animals are dying right and left. Does that seem normal for mass extinctions of this, that, and whoever all over the place? Like them bats dropping out of the trees. I mean, sure, heat, yeah, but why? It's not global warming because of the sun. It's a screwed up planet because of what they're doing to it out of selfishness and greed. So you wonder why God's going to let Satan loose on their butts? Because he's sick of them too. I mean, when you destroy where you live in a material form, your container and the container you're standing on that makes your world go around, you're pretty stupid. There's a lot of stupid people out there that call themselves illuminated. And not only don't care about themselves, they don't care about anything or anybody, not even themselves, just what is temporarily in front of them. You know, unbelievable. So, yeah, I know I went off on a bit of a tangent there about the earth and all that, but I mean, yeah, God can put an end to a lot of things, but people are going to have to start putting an end to a lot of things and find some solutions for these major problems that we have, or there will be no planet for them. You know, God will take care of his kids. That's not an issue. That's beyond faith. That's what I'm telling you. So So there's no worries in that respect. You know, your soul is your soul. That's you. You know? And yeah, we're connected. We're made out of the dust. Yes, we're connected to this planet. But that doesn't mean that God doesn't have universes that they can't transverse, that they're trying to, because they just want to self and greed all over God, no matter where it is. To have that control over their own creator is what the bottom line is. Well, they started stepping on Satan's toes with their stupidity, and they're going to find out how that feels. Because what he used to do to God's kids, he's going to do way worse to the bad ones because he's got God's permission. So they're going to have a real terrible day, probably for quite a while, I'm thinking. you know? So, and they deserve it. They do. You know? And I'm sure by the time they get through suffering, because suffer they will learn a lesson. But it won't be until that suffering is over for them that they will learn that lesson. And it's going to take longer than it did Satan because they're human. He wasn't. So it's going to take a really long time for these people to have any happiness, any thoughts of hope. Their hopelessness they put on God's kids and tried to steal our faith, all that, they're going to feel that in multitudes, multitudes, wave after wave after wave of they will not know what to do. They'll know who to turn to, but doesn't mean that God's going to be listening. I think he's going to stick them in the fry pan and go on vacation. That's my thoughts on that. I literally had a premonition about standing on top of the dome looking down on the world and seeing everybody, all the bad ones, running all over the place. And the rest of us, it's like we were in a field and we were just like partying, watching them and laughing our asses off because we knew that their soul is forever. So the torture they put us through and putting doubts in our mind until God grabbed us and said, no, you don't have to be scared. I am here. They won't know that at all. They won't even have an inkling. They'll know there's a God, but they'll be afraid to death. And some of them will drop just from fear, like a scared rabbit. Rabbit's heart will literally stop. It can get so scared. They say, like scaredy cat or chicken, or oh no, it's bunny fear. That's why if you're a rabbit hunter, all you got to do is go, and that bunny will stop in its tracks. Or you can sometimes just go, hey, and it'll stop and look at you, and that's when they'll kill them. You know, because you don't want running game anyway. Well, that's kind of a horrible trick because, like me talking to my bunnies in the yard, when it's summertime, I can literally pretty much call them to me. I used to have one that would literally she'd follow me around the house, so which was pretty cool. Wild bunnies. So yeah, it's neat when you can walk out in the yard and the wild animals don't run, you know. And this one was just a baby. The one that's in the barn now, he was born last year. He was just about half big. around the yard, and now he's a big fat bunny from all the food he's been getting out there. So yeah, and we've got all kinds of underbrush and different places that bunnies can live. So they're really lucky around here. Well, I'm gonna let you go, and thank you for joining me. I hope some of this was good news for people, and sorry about the bad news too. And I'm sure you're aware of a lot of it, but I'm telling you, this weather thing is bullshit. It's nothing different, nothing new. Just life in Minnesota in the winter. So, okay, everybody. Peace and love from Pine City, Minnesota, USA.